Greetings, Tecmo Super Bowl fans, or more specifically, Tecmo Heroes fans. This is your Commissioner Trojan 1979 with Full Nelson Tecmo. I hope everyone's doing great. I know this is really long overdue, but we're going to talk about the Heroes and what's happening with Season 4 and what's leading up to it. I don't have it in the slides that I'll show you tonight, but we are planning on broadcasting goal of 7 p.m. Sunday night, the championship game between AFC champion Maddie 6750 or 6570, I'm sorry, and Nelson 79, Levi, the NFC champion for the Super Bowl, and we'll go from there. Maddie already winning a promotion to the NFC, and lots to talk about. There's been, as this thing continues to evolve, there are lots of things that happen to try to keep things from getting too out of whack. I know the Heroes are, in many cases, more potent than any player that exists in Tecmo Super Bowl, and it creates for a unique experience. And then when you add in the whole transaction part of things, with the trades, the free agency / waiver wire process, you can really customize and see a change with the teams every year. So let's get into what we're going to be looking at here, and let's see if you can see this all right. So I'm going to try to keep chat off to the side. Hopefully, if you guys have any questions, I'll try to get through this and then address them, and then we can always continue on in the group chat. If you're catching this after the fact, if something isn't answered, of course, ask, and we'll try to get that answered for you. So, schedule of the Tecmo Heroes League. So, we're going to have a tournament for this before the actual league kicks off. And that helps out our Full Nelson live event September 25th in Green Bay. Just like the other Nintendo tournaments you've seen so far, there's been an RBI baseball tournament. There is a Tecmo Bowl tournament. There's been the Salary Cap Tecmo Super Bowl tournament. And there's even a hybrid beneficiary tournament in place, and it's still running right now, the NBA Jam Hustler tournament for Tournament Edition on Super Nintendo. We split the proceeds with the NHL 94 tournament scene that I run, but everything has been pouring into that live payout, and this, in part, will help do that. So if you want to get a head start and see what these heroes are about and how they affect the teams, we will be having a tournament for that. You can see how they would affect any of the hybrid teams. So those of you that are familiar, teams like the Colt Nuggets, which are a combination of the Colts defense and the offense of San Francisco, before all our last couple seasons transactions started kicking off, those teams started in that base format, and that kept teams a little more even, so someone doesn't get stuck with just the Indianapolis Colts. Makes more of each team a little more viable depending on where you are in the draft process. So you will draft a team and a hero, and the hero will have an impact on your team one way or another. We'll get into the individual players that will be available for this draft. You won't be able to see any of the free agents until after the draft because they get released based on who is still around and who isn't. So let's go look at the time of this. So we're going to release sign up after tomorrow. The Tecmo Bowl tournament, still a chance to sign up for that. If you want to play original Tecmo Bowl, the Eric Dickerson version. If you want in on that, let me know. We're looking for 4 more players if we can get them. If not, we'll roll with what we have. So we're going to open up things September 1st for the trading process. The tournament will still be going on at that point, but if you want to start getting on your league trades at that point, you can go ahead and rock and roll with that. All trades have to be approved by the league board, which consists of 4 individuals right now. When that opens up, you'll get instructions on how to submit those trades, but both players will have to submit to the authority what they want to do. We have to make sure it will pass the regulations that are permitted, what you're allowed to trade, what you're not allowed to trade, and then we also want to make sure that no one's getting fleeced. So while nothing is black and white with these things, we want to make sure that no one is, especially newer players, are getting just completely taken advantage of. So that board will make sure that all is good there. One thing that, or really two changes this year, if you do trade for a player, that player must remain on your roster. The only way the exception to that is if then you draft a player or pick up someone in the waiver wire, you can then replace that player you traded for. However, if you don't happen to draft or trade a player from that position, that player is going to be stuck on your roster. So trade wisely. Don't trade for a piece of garbage in hopes of replacing that piece of garbage with another trade, because you won't be able to. The other thing is that there will be a limit. So there were a lot of transactions that took place, and some teams were completely unrecognizable by the end of the offseason to the next season. And what that means is there will be 11 total players limited. So you can basically trade out half of your team, either your offense or defense equivalent. So if 4 players are involved in one trade, that means that you have 7 remaining for any other trades that you have. And both players need to meet that requirement, of course. If you're over the limit, then that trade can't happen. So be mindful and purposeful with your trades, and make sure that you have a plan when you do them. And again, we'll have an announcement when you can go live with that, but the start of the month here, we're going to let people start to do that. We would like to get into the rolling league draft once we have confirmation where everyone's going to be. And you'll know where your draft position is before that, so you'll have time to contemplate what you want to do. But the rolling league draft is going to start September 9th. And after the championship broadcast this Sunday around 7 p.m., we're going to go ahead and let everyone know where they're going to be. And it's where the teams are, not where the individuals are, because some people, season to season don't hang out with the tournament, or don't hang out with the league. They have other commitments, things they have to step away, and new people come in. But where that team was at that moment, that is where those draft positions will lie. That will be revealed then after the game on Sunday at 7 p.m. The last week in September, after all the drafting is done and all the edits to the ROMs have been done and tested to verify that everything is good, we want to be able to start at the latest the last week in September, which is right after our live event in Green Bay. So we kind of want to let that take place, and then we can shift focus onto the online league. The goal is to be done before Cleveland Gaming Classic on November 13th takes place. So, Thrash, we're going to get to how stats are being handled. We'll definitely, great question, by the way, and thanks. Welcome to the chat. So we want to be done with the regular season in time, so people aren't worrying about running into the holidays and that kind of thing. Once regular season is done, the playoffs will commence, and we would like the playoffs to be hopefully done by Thanksgiving. And then after that, we're going to take a break for the holiday season, and then the goal is to return after the holiday season in January 1st. A lot of people take vacation for winter break and that sort of thing. And any event, JP the Bowler, welcome to the stream. But yes, the goal is to give people a chance to do family things and then return. And then there's that lull in the winter. Live Tecmo starts to happen as things thaw out a little bit. Kind of starts to return to the fold. But that's when we'll kick back in. And then we'll try to get one more season in before that annual online tournament that we do every year. It'll be our 6th one in April. Hopefully April we'll be doing that. So that's the kind of the goal. Obviously, this is subject to change based on reality, but this is what we like to see happen. We are not a high acceleration schedule league. We do not want people to feel super stressed about getting their games in as long as they get their games in. So, next slide here. All right, so we're going to talk about conference realignments, and we do not have what those are going to be just yet, but that will be revealed soon. Because of the skill where certain people are and performance based on the prior season, many people will end up in a different conference and controlling a different team name, but you'll retain the rosters. The team, the actual players with their stats remain yours. So how that will play out will be revealed, but it's a balancing act that keeps the good players from beating up on the really bad players. The people that did really well are going to end up facing each other a lot within division. The actual schedules themselves, where we still base the game based on the original Tecmo Super Bowl schedule from that actual NFL season. So as a result, you'll be playing some different people, at least in part. The schedule remains the same, but who you actual play will change because of the shifting around of the teams you control. Hopefully that makes sense. But it is a judgment call. This information and how that works does get submitted to our board, and we shall sign off on it, and then we move forward with it. So that yet to come. But here we go. Next slide. Let's talk about. This is what you're here for. This is the individual heroes that we're going to be around, and you're going to start to see some of the players have a stat modification to the rest of your team. And so it'll be, this is how we're actually going to handle stat reductions, is through the draft process itself. There are some standalone heroes that don't have any impact on the rest of your team, and then there's some heroes that have impacts on one area positively and negative in others. So, first one, Wes Chandler, wide receiver Wes Chandler, name that probably doesn't come to mind for a lot of people. And this, maybe you played some past leagues, but he averaged 129 yards per game, had no fumbles in the strike-shortened season, still holds a record with his average, even to this day, even with the era of, you can't touch the receivers, the sarcastic ball style of NFL we see today. And as a result, his ball control receptions are absolutely insane. Has 94 on that. And that will be a player that will significantly should be one of the first players we would see off the board. By the way, most of these in no particular order, but this is wide receiver Wes Chandler, and he's going to be an immediate impact for any quarterback with any reasonable amount of pass control. Offensive lineman Erik Williams, before his car accident, was the most dominant tackle of his claim to fame, if you will. He was able to hold Charles Mann and Reggie White to 0 sack performances, played against tremendous defensive fronts in the NFC East, and just completely dominated. And that domination continued on to his time against Green Bay when Reggie White was playing for the Packers, and he really nullified Reggie White and company. So, talking about what his stats are, if he goes, he can go anywhere on the offensive line, and then once he hits there, you can juggle that line any way you want. You have to discard one of the linemen, and he gets 63 maximum speed, so he's going to immediately boost the return game if you put him at right tackle, and 88 hitting power. So there are some elite defensive tackles in this game. He'll handle them all. Gilbert Brown is the only one I think that has currently 94 hitting power, and on immediately contact, he shouldn't get popcorn unless conditions dictate otherwise. So, going to be an absolute impact for any offensive line and return game. Erik Williams. All right, so if you've been paying attention to modern sports, wide receiver, running back Randall Cobb re-signed with the Packers, something that Aaron Rodgers wanted. And he had an incredible start to his career. Actually returned 108. It was a record at that time, 108-yard kickoff return in his first ever game. It was the season opener against the Saints after the Packers won the Super Bowl. And here's what in addition to his stats, he's got 44 running speed, 56 maximum speed when he's on the field, reception 63, ball control 50, hitting power 31. So on the outside, as a receiver, he can definitely help in the blocking game, but he's still a great outside threat. Not quite a Henry Ellard per se, but he does have an impact here. As a returner, he is able to increase the right tackle speed by 2 levels. So that'll be when you draft him, whoever your right tackle ends up being when the season starts will get that boost. And then the quarterbacks on your roster will enjoy a 2-level pass control increase. So this is a very a good hero to get if you can. So Randall Cobb. And, the other thing is he can occupy either a running back or a wide receiver slot, but he's allowed to run the ball regardless because he can do both. So he breaks that standard league rule. Wherever you want to put him, he can go ahead and run the ball. Just checking chat here. All right. So we've seen Bo Jackson as a right tackle, giving the return game 75 maximum speed. Now you can see him as a linebacker, and this is a very interesting dynamic. Rushing power of 69, which means he could really get after it. I think this would be a good addition to a player, maybe mid to late round, that has a fast thumb, high tapper, who wants to get in there and be disruptive, but he's not going to be a guy that you probably want to leave unmanned because he only has 31 hitting power. And so if he gets clobbered by any decent hitting power, he's going to find himself on his back. He'd also be a good pursuit drone. So if he is getting after the ball carrier, if you're controlling someone else, he'd get there in a hurry as long as there's no one else in the way. So probably not a high round guy, but at 75 maximum speed and 69 rushing power, he should be able to disrupt them things. Certainly be a guy you could put at LB1 and get after, rush a kick. So Bo Jackson is a linebacker. Bo knows linebacking. And I think Thrash really likes that one. All right, Revis Island. Cornerback, Revis Island. So here's a guy that had a holdout, and he's a great individual, but he's going to have some negative effects on your teammates. So his actual speed 38 to start, 56 rushing power, so he'll get up and move quickly. 69 maximum speed, so if you don't man him, you still chase most guys down the field, no problem. The hitting power is 56, not 31. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened there. That'll get corrected. I apologize. But the interception's 88. That's the primary stat. Could you imagine 3,156 hitting power? 88 interceptions. So he'll be snatching a lot of interceptions, jump picks out of the sky. And the thing is that your other DBs are going to lose one level of maximum speed and INT. I know maximum speed isn't super critical, but he has to play either DB1 or DB2. He's going to be a cornerback. So, Revis Island. All right, obscure hero Samkon Gado, running back for the Green Bay Packers in 2005. Ended up playing for some other teams, but he was actually a licensed MD. And during the 2005 season, when the Packers only won 4 games, he became something of a hero. There were some injuries at the running back position. Put the ball on the ground a few times, but had a really good second gear once he got into the open and had some long touchdown scores. So, he was strong cat too. So 56 hitting power, so he's not going to get popcorn by most guys. Maximum speed 63, not 63 sounds like a lot in regular Tecmo. In Heroes, it's not as elite, but it's still really good. But he does have a bit of a ball control issue at 25. So heads up on that. But Samkon Gado, and he's a good pick if you're not looking to get one of those, well, I'm going to improve in one area but get bad in somewhere else. So Samkon Gado, running back, 2005, folk hero. All right, safety Troy Polamalu, or as Pat McAfee would say, Polamalu. One of the most versatile defenders in NFL history, and one unique thing about him is that you can play him in either linebacker or one of the 2 safety positions. So elite stats, the negative effect is that all of your linebackers and DBs are going to lose 1 level of interception if you do draft him. But you get a 69 defender with 56 rushing power and 75 hitting power. So definitely an elite defender, but your other guys are going to suffer just a little bit on that end of things. So Troy Polamalu can popcorn blockers. Could be interesting nickelback if you want to leave your other DBs out there, if you like who they are. So you get some versatility when you take this pick, but you do lose some stats in other areas. All right. Running back ultimate, John L. Williams. This is another guy that's not super great, but doesn't have any impact on the other players on your roster. So imagine if John L. Williams was in excellent condition, but instead of excellent, it says average. So all that means is that his his running speed, his maximum speed, receptions, ball control, hitting power, and while it doesn't say on the card here, his rushing power will also be increased. So instead of 69 rushing power, he'll be up 2 notches, so that would be, I believe, 81. So he'll be able to change, he'll be a really good kick returner guy, is kind of the primary guy. Could be a good tight end for you. He'll have great hands. If he goes into good or excellent, he'll be even better than this. So running back, ultimate John L. Williams, sort of a joke, inside joke between myself and DPS that turned into a hero selection. All right, the Lizard King. So this was sort of confusing last season for people. The Lizard King goes to the meme there. You don't even know my real name. I'm the Lizard King. It's a mystery player, mystery position, and there are stats that get rolled randomly. And I have a number of preset names to go with these, but last season, it ended up making from Married with Children. Someone help me out. The dad from Married with Children. El Bundy, yes, thank you, El Bundy. So he ended up getting like insane stats, even ones that weren't necessarily complimentary, and they were all high except for like one. And absolutely elite player. I don't know if history can be repeated there. The one thing about drafting the Lizard King is that you're not going to make your team worse, because at the very worst, if the player isn't great, they can just go on your bench. But the minimums aren't so bad. Like, everyone's going to get at least a usable player. It's just a matter of where they can excel at. You would think the odds are at least one stat's going to be useful to your team. So, are we going to see another Al Bundy? We won't know. But there he is, the Lizard King. All right, defensive lineman Deacon Jones. And he was the original guy that coined sacking the quarterback. He was known for his head slaps, which are now banned in the league. Great, Tecmo Scarface, great question. Lizard King has no impact on any other player. So another guy to grab if you're concerned about getting reductions elsewhere. So Deacon Jones can play any of the defensive line positions wherever you want them, and then you release the player that you replace. You do not get to reorder the DL. You just wherever you decide to put him. And his stats are really good. He doesn't affect any other players. Running speed, 44. That's right up there with Bruce Smith. Rushing power at 50. Interceptions, 25. At this level, not fantastic, but you could have worse defensive linemen to control. 81 hitting power. So probably a guy you're going to let just sit there and cause problems for the other team. So, Deacon Jones. And I know that some guys, I know right now, Gilbert Brown is the hardest hitting defensive lineman in the game at 94 that we have. He is a couple notches below that, but Deacon Jones is faster and more versatile. So, next player. All right, so this is like a backhanded compliment to the Vikings fans out there. So we've got the wide receiver rookie of Randy Moss, 1998. Just absolutely took the league by storm. Unbelievable acceleration, top-end speed. Went and got those jump balls from, at first I believe it was Randall Cunningham playing for the Vikings. I think he caught some passes from Brad Johnson. But then later on it was from Dante Culpepper in later years. But rookie Randy Moss went all the way to the NFC Championship, where a certain kicker named Gary Anderson missed a game, what I think would have been a game-winning field goal. And they ended up sending the Falcons instead of themselves to the Super Bowl. Falcons, of course, got chewed up in Super Bowl 33 by the Denver Broncos. So, here's the deal with Randy Moss. If you take him, your kicker and your punter are going to be trash. 13 kicking ability. The running speed is 50. His maximum speed is 75. He's faster than Jerry Rice. Receptions are 75, one notch below Jerry Rice. His ball control is only 31. If he gets tackled in bounds, he could put the ball on the ground. Only 13 hitting power, so he can get popcorn by guys with higher hitting power on running plays. So, hey, Thrash, thanks for the history lesson there on Randall Cunningham. So I thought it was him. I just remember they carved with the Packers. So a great weapon, a top 5 receiver in this league right away if you take him. There are other guys like Tyreek Hill, who I'm currently controlling. You've got Devontae Adams, Chris Carter, the real Chris Carter. Those are all guys that are just insane. Of course, you have the original Jerry Rice is in the game as well. So, the reduction is in the kicking game. All right, here's going to be a fun one. 2002 Michael Vick, right after he carved up the Packers in Lambeau, handed them their first ever playoff loss. He just absolutely dominated the league with athletic plays. There's a picture there from his walk-off overtime 46-yard scamper for a touchdown. So here's the trade-off if you do take him. All the offensive players on your team will lose 2 hit power levels. So that includes your offensive line and your skill positions, your running backs, your tight ends, wide receivers, lose 2 levels. So even though he can scramble, he may have more bodies to avoid because those blocks aren't going to hold up as long. 63 maximum speed makes him faster than QB Eagles, but he only has 44 pass control, and against all the really good DBs in this league, that could be a problem. 44 passing speed, so he's got a good lofty throw for the long ball, and only 44 avoid pass block. But his wheels at 63 maximum speed are better than QB Eagles and even Tyreek Hill at 50, who right now Maddie 6750 has. So, or 6570. It keeps going back and forth. So QB Michael Vick basically was a cheat code in Madden. All right. Here's a hero that's actually 2 heroes. So, you get 2 Clay Matthews on your team, but not the Clay Matthews from the original Tecmo, but one that's more stat adjusted. He was definitely underwhelming in Tecmo Super Bowl, but not in real life. And, of course, Clay Matthews III was Packers linebacker. So both played outside linebacker, and you'll get an LB1 or an LB4 named Clay Matthews. So 38, 50, 56, 38, 63. So even a little bit of coverage, not like, a great nickelback, but 38 is still pretty good. 63 hitting power, if you leave them alone, they're not going to get knocked over in most cases. And rushing power 50. So definitely can get in there. You can lurch with these guys, or you can rush the kick. So you get both players. So when you draft this, you lose both of the LB1 and LB4. You don't get to move them around. Those guys are gone out to the the free agent pool. So, Clay Matthews. All right, here's kind of a different hero, if you will. So, it's safety Doug Plank, individually not spectacular. He's only 38, 38, 50, 44, and 50. But he is the namesake / numbersake of the vaunted 46 defense ran by Buddy Ryan in the famous 1985 Bears defense. So what ends up happening is your defense gets better, part of your offense gets a little bit worse. So all defensive stats for the other players will go up 1 level. Your wide receivers, your tight ends, your running backs are going to lose 1 level of maximum speed and reception stats. But every stat on the defensive side, that includes rushing power, maximum speed, INT, hitting power, all that stuff, will go up 1 level on every other player. And he is a safety, so he's got to go either DB3 or DB4, and then your other guys will get a boost. There is going to be some maximums that will be implemented because we don't want any more players to get beyond a certain point. We will post those before the draft, so you guys know what that's about. But this will help any team that's out there right now. CJ2K. So in 2009, he actually broke Marshall Faulk's all-purpose yards record with 2,509 yards. He's got 75 maximum speed, so that's Bo Jackson level. His receptions is higher than Bo at 38, but his ball control is also 38. Only 25 hitting power, so he's the guy you want carrying the ball. All of your defensive running speed is reduced 1 level if you take this pick. All of your offensive linemen hit power is reduced 1 level. And if you make this pick, you're not allowed to trade any of your defenders or offensive lineman players after the draft until the season is over. So once you make this pick, whoever you have in those situations is locked in. That's who you have. So an elite weapon in the backfield, but it does have some negative effects on part of your team. But when you have 75 maximum speed, I don't know that it's going to be that detrimental if you've got some studs out there. Little history lesson. The no-name defense. This was the defense behind back-to-back Super Bowl champion Miami Dolphins. Don Shula days, Bill Arnsparger was the defensive coordinator, and that was the only perfect season. The 72 Dolphins and then the 73 Dolphins. So here's what happens with this. So every member of your defense gets sent into the free agency pool. They're gone. And then all of your defensive linebacker and DB stats are as follows. Rushing speed, running speed. Rushing power and running speed are both 44. Your maximum speed becomes 56. With the exception the DBs go to 63. Interceptions are 31 for the DL and the LBs, and you get 56 INT for your defensive backs. Your hitting power becomes 63 for the front seven and 56 on the back end. So basically what you have is an all-around really good defense where anyone can make a play, but no one is elite. The downside is your quarterback pass control and maximum speed will be reduced one level. Also, you can't trade your quarterbacks or anyone on your defense after this pick for the season. No name defense. Again, questions, go ahead and fire them off in chat. All right, so this is a very interesting one. This is the Broncos zone blocking scheme coach Alex Gibbs. This was responsible for creating Terrell Davis' 2,000-yard season, as well as subsequent other running backs that rush for over 1,000 yards. It seemed nobodies that they would just plug in and they would rush for a ton. So all of your linemen will get replaced by this pick. They will all have 56 maximum speed. They will all have 88 hitting power. All your skill position players besides your quarterback are going to get their maximum speed set to 50. If it's below 50, it's going to go up to 50. If it's above 50, it's going to get reduced to 50. You lose one rushing power in all of your defenders. The hitting power of all the wide receivers are increased by 3 levels. Your tight end by 2 levels. And you're not allowed to do any trades at any position after this pick for this season. So basically you're committing to the run. You don't have to have a super fast running back if you have a tremendous blocking scheme in front of you, which this is. If you want to go with a faster running back next season, you can. So that is the zone blocking scheme. All right, this was not my idea, but it's there anyway. This is the wife-beater trio of running backs. Kareem Hunt, Ray Rice, and Larry Johnson. I'm rolling my eyes already at this one. So you get three running backs that are identical. So you're going to lose maximum speed and hitting power 2 levels on your offensive line if you get these guys. Your wide receiver and tight end drop 2 levels of maximum speed and receptions. And you cannot trade after making this pick, but you get 3 running backs with really good stats that later on would be valuable. Think a faster version of how the Steelers move about. They have running backs that are faster than their wide receivers. That's sort of what you're looking at here, but they have hitting power as well. So, wife beater trio. Crickets in chat on that one. Wide receiver, turn kick returner, punt returner, Desmond Howard. Almost didn't make the Packers roster. Ended up becoming Super Bowl 31 MVP. Had a tremendous playoff run, tremendous return game, and won the MVP in Super Bowl 31. You can't use him on offense, so that's the kicker. He will take away one of your bench receivers. He has to be used as your punt returner, kick returner. He makes a boost to your defensive back 4 and your right tackle by 4 levels. So wherever they're at right now, it's going to get boosted 4 levels. And he gets 69 running speed, so he can change direction very fast on the field. That is retained by the player, not the kicker, or excuse me, not the tackle or the DB4. Ball control is 88, so on a kick return, if he gets tackled, less likely to be fumbled. Only 13 hitting power. His 25 maximum speed is just there so you're discouraged from trying to put him on the field as a receiver. Desmond Howard, everyone. All right, cornerback Jaire Alexander. This is kind of a funny one. Been rated overall number 1 by the NFL. He's all-pro corner right now. But he has someone on the other side of the ball named Kevin King. So let's look at Jaire Alexander's stats. Absolutely ridiculous. Running speed's 50. Rushing power's 56. Has 81 maximum speed. Interceptions 75 and hitting power 69. So good at everything. But whoever's on the other side of the ball is renamed, not released, to Kevin King and is going to have all of those stats reduced 3 levels. So you're going to have to deal with having a really crappy defensive back on the other side of the ball. And you may have to try to trade into something better. Now, you're not prohibited from trading with this pick. So if you decide to take Jaire, you still have a chance, maybe with the move later, to pick someone up off of the waiver wires or something. All right. Tight end Kellen Winslow was really the prototypical guy that led to all these receiving tight ends that we see today. He was an elite weapon paired with Dan Fouts. He's a player that doesn't have any impact on anyone else from a stat modification standpoint. 56 maximum speed, 75 receptions, hitting power is 50. So it really wasn't known as a great blocking tight end, more of a receiving tight end, but he'll be able to help out your running game if you have, let's say, a wide receiver 2, be a good fit there. 56 maximum speed, faster than other tight ends in the game. Kellen Winslow had a son that ran into some trouble that also played in the NFL. Dan Fouts, the quarterback that threw to Kellen Winslow, was the Air Coryell QB, and he never got himself a Super Bowl ring, but put up a lot of yards, a lot of points, a lot of wins in San Diego. If you do draft him, you have a good quarterback, but you're going to lose some offensive line stats. So maximum speed and hit power will be reduced 1 level on your offensive line. Kind of a statue back there, 13 maximum speed, especially at this level. But 69 pass control, 44 passing speed. That is right there with like QB Brown's type of level there. I think he actually has 75, but basically a really good guy you can throw into coverage with. And then you have 75 avoid pass block. So if you let the ball go, good chance it's getting off of his hands. All right, so cornerback Lester the Molester, Lester Hayes, part of the Commitment to Excellence, Al Davis 70s teams. Used Stickum, actually had a number of rules implemented because of the way he played. Vicious elbows. And basically, you're not cheating, you're not trying. All linebackers are going to have their rushing power reduced to 1 level if you draft Lester, but you get 44-44 with 69 interceptions and 69 hitting power. So a great back-end defender. Lester the Molester. Excuse me, I should have grabbed some water. Another Raider, wide receiver Cliff Branch. I don't believe he's in the Raiders Hall of Fame. Should be. Al Davis was all about those fast receivers on the outside, and he does exactly that. 69 maximum speed with 63 receptions, and then ball control 50. Nothing crazy there. You do lose 1 level of maximum speed on your running backs and quarterbacks if you do draft Cliff Branch. All right, so someone requested Bobby Hebert, and there's some people that are just absolutely in love with him, and has an interesting story that he held out in 1990 the entire season, which is why he's not in Tecmo Super Bowl. But he was a tremendous quarterback for a very short period of time. He was actually at one point the USFL's 1983 most outstanding quarterback. And what you do is actually get a pretty good quarterback here. 25 maximum speed, 63 pass control, passing speed 63, and avoid pass block 63. So a guy that's a little bit better than Boomer Esiason, but you do lose running speed on your back end. So the running speed of all your defenders goes down 1 level. Bobby Hebert was quarterbacking an undefeated team for a while, There he is. People want him. You got him. Bobby Hebert. All right. So, another player that's been really misrepresented, I think, in Tecmo Super Bowl based on the reality on the field was Ironhead Heyward. And he was actually decent in Tecmo Super Bowl 3. But if you watched him on the field, he actually ran away from a lot of defenders, and his quickness was unbelievable. Really Achilles heel. He put the ball on the ground a little bit, and a versatile guy. He could catch the ball, knock people over. No one really wanted to tackle him. So he's going to start every game with 100 hitting power, which is a unique thing. I don't believe any other player has 100 hitting power to start. Now, I can't go above that, but that is Popcorn City. What you give up for getting him is that your hitting power of all of your other skill position players is going down to 19, including your running backs. So this is the guy that can lay the wood, but your other guys can't. You do have 50 maximum speed, so he's actually the same speed as Christian Okoye. Rushing power 81, he can change direction faster, having 81 rushing power. That's like being an excellent. And his ball control is only 38, but he can catch the ball out of the backfield, 44. And that's the real Ironhead Heyward. Samurai Mike, yes, Mike Singletary's in the game. I still think he's underrepresented what his actual benefit to the team is. So, you get an inside linebacker, Samurai Mike, and he makes everyone around him better, at least at the minimum side of things. So, all other 7 stat minimums, that's your front 7, are going to be increased to 31 running speed, 44 rushing power, 56 hitting power, and 25 INT. So if they're below those stats, the front 7 defenders, all the other ones are going to get that. Not the back at 4. And then your quarterbacks lose 1 level of maximum speed and pass control. He's got 44-50 with 69 maximum speed, 31 INT instead of 19, so you can use him in coverage for a little bit, and 75 hitting power. So he's similar, but he has... So if you've got a team with really bad linebackers, not great defensive linemen, this will boost them all up a little bit and just make your team overall better, and you'll have a real solid linebacker that you can control on the inside. Samurai Mike. All right. This is the only draft pick that didn't get taken, so we always have one more pick than we have draft pick available than we have people actually draft. Ty Montgomery Effect, what this does... and this is based off when he made a switch to running back from wide receiver. There were some injuries. They needed some help at the running back position, and he played running back in 2015. He's no longer with the Packers. He's actually with the Saints now. But what you do is you get to convert a wide receiver to a running back and a running back to a wide receiver. So you take that, and there's actually a stat modification. So you get more receiving stats for the guy that becomes the wide receiver, and the receiver that becomes a running back gets 2 levels of hitting power. So that is the trade-off. Now, why would you want to do that? Maybe you have a slow running back and you have someone like a Jerry Rice on your team and you want to make him able to run the ball. That's why you do it. Another example would be someone like Ironhead Rice, who is extremely fast, doesn't have great hands, and is currently at the wide receiver position. Maybe you want Ironhead Rice to be the running back. So maybe you find another. So Nelson 79 has that set up. Maybe that's of interest to him. I'm not trying to single him out, but that'd just be an example of why you would do that. Both players get better. There's no other reduction to those players, and there's no other modification that happens as a result of that. So it's a positive only thing that can happen if you take the Ty Montgomery Effect. All right, and this one might be the last one. I could be wrong. I got to go through everything here. This is basically Tom Brady. What you get here is a statue quarterback with 81 pass control, 44 passing speed, and avoid pass block 88. You get very similar to Samurai Mike. You get some increases on the offensive side. All of the hitting power gets increased to 56 for the linemen, and all of your minimum stats increased to 44 maximum speed, 56 reception, and 31 hitting power on all of those other guys for the skill position guys on the outside. The negative thing with taking this is that your defensive backs interception is reduced to 50. So you may have to find another piece to play some coverage on the back end if you make this pick, but you could significantly improve your team by having this quarterback. And if you take this quarterback, certainly in seasons to come, you're set up for a while. So, Tom Brady, the GOAT, coach on the field. So I think we must have covered, wow, did we really go through that many picks? That is the preview that we have. I thought we had more. I guess that was the last one. So if you watch this, thank you. Any questions, you start hammering me in chat over this. But these are the heroes that are going to be available in the tournament. Again, that's going to be starting, I want to say August 26th, I think is what we had in the first slide. So we're going to have that tournament featuring these heroes that you should see signups in the next day or two for that. And we want to get, maximum will be 28. The first 28 people to sign up for that, $15, half of it feeds our full Nelson event. If you didn't see yet, we do have a flash opportunity. If we get 5 signups or more in the next 48 hours, there's a Don Mikowski jersey being released to someone who attends. And if you get 10, we'll add a Jim Kelly jersey from the USFL. So we have that. I hope you enjoyed this. I know it was just me talking and some pictures, but I wanted to get you guys thinking about it. Really appreciate all of the involvement. I know the summer is long, long, long. We haven't been doing this for a while. And make sure you check out Sunday night. We're going to get the championship game between Nelson the 79 of the NFC and Maddie from the AFC and his Raiders. So I got nothing else for you. We'll see you out there. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night. You guys take care, all right?